Hi, how are you? This week we've got three things I'm going to cover, and that will be the flat keys and how we write the flat keys on the staff. And then I'm going to show you how to remember the order of the flats. And finally, I'm just going to talk a little bit about major and minor key signatures. So far, we have been finding the major key signatures based on the intervals of a major scale. So first of all, let's talk about flat keys. Last time we went around the circle of fifths, and if you remember, starting at C has no sharps or flats. Over here has one, and then we went all the way around to 7. This time what we're going to do is we're going to start at C and we're going to go this direction, and you'll find that the number of flats increases with each one of the keys represented around the clock. So, as you might guess, the key of F has one flat. All right, I'm just going to put that symbol right there, one flat, and let's just confirm that by putting this on the F, right? So we've got F, G, A, and here you'll see that there's a B flat, C, D, E, and back to F again. So that's our first key. All right, so let's put our B flat in here. This one goes on that middle line. Now the next one is the key of B flat. Now while I'm doing this, just observe something about the name of the next flat that comes up, and then see if you can see something that's kind of a clue to how you can figure this out by the circle of fifths. I'm going to put the tonic indicator over there on the B flat. So the B flat, also shown as an A sharp here. So we got B flat, C, D, and here we have E flat, F, G, A, and then B flat again. So that means that we have an E flat. So E flat is on the top space, it goes right there. So that will be the key signature with two flats. Now, as I was saying, did you notice something here? The key of F has one flat, and its key signature is a B flat on that middle line. Well, take a look here. There's F, there's the B flat. Now let's take a look at this. The key of B flat has two flats in it, and it's got B flat and E flat. So what's that? That note right there indicates the last flat that you apply to the key signature. So now if we take a look at the key of E flat, we can assume that it's going to have an additional flat of A flat. Well, let's see if that's the case. Here we go. So I'm going to put this on the E flat, which is right there. Right, so now let's take a look at the notes. Here we've got E flat, F, G, A flat, B flat, C, D, E flat. All right, so the new one here is the A flat, right over here. So that's entirely correct. So the key of E flat has three flats, right? We've got a flat there, and a flat there, and a flat there. So interestingly, that key of A flat, or that note A flat we put here, what we're going to see is a pattern in the flats which is actually more easily remembered than the sharp keys. And we'll see that in a moment. Instead of going through all of these around the clock, which I could do, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the names of the flats and just write them in over here just to save time. So the key of E flat, we just found out, had an A flat in it. So the key of A flat should now have a note D flat. So the next note is D flat. So the D on the staff is this line right here. So here we put another flat right there. Now just take a look at the pattern we've got. So it goes from here, up, down, up. Let's look at the next note. So we've got D flat. If we go over here, the next note will be a G flat. So G flat, what we do here is we use this line right here. The next note is actually not written in here. What we have here is a B. So another name for a B when we're talking about flats is, it will be a C flat. So the next note in here would be C flat, like that. Now if we continue around the clock, the next note here is E. So another name for E is actually F flat. I know it's kind of weird, but that's how it works. So we got F flat. Okay, so the next note is F flat. So F flat would actually be right here. All right, so you notice here you've got this nice zigzag pattern, which is an easier pattern to remember than the sharps, as I was saying before. So now let's talk about how we can memorize the notes that go on the staff over here. This is actually really easy. If you remember the sentence that I mentioned in the last video, I said Father Charles goes down and ends battle. Now if you reverse that and say battle ends and down goes Charles' father, that actually makes sense going both directions. And look here, Father Charles goes down and ends battle, battle ends and down goes Charles' father. Or you can even make your own if you're really smart, but that's the one that I use to remember. And if you know that, then you can actually draw your own circle of fifths, just to help you to understand these things. So what you have to remember is the C is going to be at the top, and then that means that the F is going to start over here, and then you just go around in this direction. Now going the opposite direction, the flats start right there. So after the F, we have B. So here's where you can say battle ends and down goes, if you want to go over here, Charles' father. Likewise, lucky for us, we can just look at the staff over here too, and we can say battle ends and down goes Charles' father. So you can be able to write those in on the staff very easily. And then if you want to know what the key is, let's look at this one. If this is F, then that means that the key is going to be the flat before. So that is going to be C flat. And likewise, if the last one of these happened to be a D flat, then that means the flat before it, which is A flat, is the key. We're just really applying the understanding that we found out by going through this circle and filling out the key signatures based on finding those intervals. You could draw your own chart like this and just confirm it, and actually that's a really good idea because it helps to make your understanding of key signatures much more solid. Now the last thing that I want to mention is major and minor keys. Major and minor keys use the same set of key signatures. So how do you know what they are? Well, I do have another video on this, but basically if you take the sixth note of a major scale, which would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I have that marked over here. All right, so if let's say we take the key of C, and I put this on the C there, and where I have a mark over here, the key of A would actually be the minor key that uses the same key signature of no sharps or flats. And those are called relative minors. So relative major and minor keys use the same key signatures. Let's take two very simple keys. We'll take the F. So to find the relative minor of F, you can go forward 6 like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that would be the key of D. So the relative minor key signature is the same for D minor or for F. Let's use our key of G. So the key of G, if we count 6, so we're going from G, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Will be the key of E minor. So E minor is the relative minor to G, and they use the same key signatures. Now there's actually a little bit simpler way to do it. Instead of counting forward 6, you can count back 3. So in the case of G, you go from G, F sharp, E. And that's the same thing, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Or you can count from G, 1, 2, 3. Now you might ask the question, How can you tell what keys something's in? Is it in G major or is it in E minor? That's really the topic for another video, but what you can do is listen to the music and you can probably sense whether it's a minor key or a major key. But that's the topic for another time. So remember, stay tuned and I'll see you soon.